The eviction notice was taped to my apartment door when I got home from my second job at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Bright orange paper that might as well have been a neon sign announcing my failure to the entire hallway. 72 hours to pay $4,200 in back rent, or lose the only stable home my 8-year-old daughter Emma had ever known. My name is Sarah Chen, and 3 months earlier, I'd lost my primary job as a marketing coordinator when the startup I worked for ran out of funding. The severance barely covered 2 weeks of expenses, and despite applying to dozens of positions, I was still working part-time retail and weekend catering just to buy groceries and keep the lights on. That night, sitting on my kitchen floor with Emma sleeping peacefully in the next room, I did something I'd never done before. I called my family and asked for help. Not alone, just enough to keep us housed while I found stable employment. What happened next taught me exactly who my family really was when the spotlight of desperation revealed their true character. I made 7 phone calls that night. 6 people who shared my DNA found reasons why they couldn't help a single mother and her child avoid homelessness. But one person, the one I'd least expected, stepped forward without hesitation. And when fortune changed everything 6 months later, I remembered exactly who had been there when it mattered most. Emma had been asleep for 2 hours when I finally worked up the courage to make the calls that would change how I viewed my family forever. I'd been staring at my phone, rehearsing what to say, trying to find words that would convey urgency without sounding like begging. The first call was to my older brother Michael, who'd just posted Instagram photos from his family's vacation to Aspen. Michael worked in finance, lived in a 6-bedroom house in Westchester, and had always been the family success story that everyone else was supposed to aspire to become. "Sarah? It's pretty late. Is everything okay?" "Michael, I'm sorry to call so late, but I'm in trouble. I lost my job 3 months ago, and I'm about to be evicted. Emma and I need help, just enough to cover rent while I find something stable." "Oh, wow, that's really tough. You know, Linda and I just committed to this big renovation project, and with the kids' private school tuition, our cash flow is pretty tight right now. Have you tried applying for assistance programs? I'm sure there are resources for single mothers." Michael hung up after promising to look into some options and see what might be possible, but I could hear in his voice that he'd already moved on to other concerns before the call ended. The second call was to my sister Jessica, who worked as a pediatric nurse and had always positioned herself as the family caregiver, the one who understood struggling and sacrifice. "Sarah, honey, I wish I could help. I really do. But you know nurses don't make that much money, and with my student loans and mom's medical bills that I help with, I just don't have $4,000 sitting around." "Jessica, I'm not asking for $4,000. Even $500 would help. I just need to show the landlord that I'm working toward catching up." "Sarah, I've told you before that you need to build an emergency fund. Living paycheck to paycheck with a child is irresponsible. Maybe this is the wake-up call you need to make better financial choices." The conversation with Jessica stung more than Michael's deflection because it came wrapped in judgment disguised as concern. I was learning that asking for help revealed not just who had resources, but who they thought deserved access to those resources. My Aunt Patricia, who'd inherited substantial money from her late husband, suggested I reach out to Emma's father for support, knowing that Emma's father had abandoned us when she was 2 years old and hadn't been heard from since. My cousin David, who'd just bought his 3rd rental property, explained that he couldn't set a precedent of mixing family with money, because it always ends badly. My Uncle Robert thought I should consider moving somewhere more affordable, rather than expecting others to subsidize poor planning. My younger brother Jake claimed his girlfriend would kill him if he lent money to family without discussing it with her first. By midnight, I'd made 6 calls and received 6 different versions of the same message. Your crisis is not our responsibility. The family that gathered for holidays and celebrated successes together seemed to evaporate when faced with actual need. That's when my phone rang with an incoming call that would change everything about how I understood family and loyalty. The caller ID showed Rita Williams, my ex-husband's mother, a woman I hadn't spoken to in over a year since the divorce was finalized. Rita and I had maintained a cordial relationship for Emma's sake, but I'd never expected her to reach out, especially not at midnight. "Sarah, dear, I hope I'm not calling too late. Emma mentioned during our last phone call that you'd been working extra jobs lately. I've been worried about you both." "Rita, yes, things have been challenging since I lost my job. I'm actually facing some serious financial problems right now." Rita listened without interruption as I explained the eviction notice, the job loss, and the impossible math of trying to support Emma on part-time wages. I found myself being more honest with my ex-mother-in-law than I'd been with my own siblings about how desperate our situation had become. "Sarah, how much do you need to stay in your apartment while you find stable work?" "The back rent is $4,200, but really anything would help. I've been trying to work out a payment plan with the landlord." "I'm transferring $5,000 to your account tonight. That should cover the rent and give you some breathing room for groceries and expenses while you job hunt." I sat on my kitchen floor, staring at my phone, trying to process what had just happened. The woman who had no blood relationship to me, whose son had left us both behind when he decided marriage and fatherhood were too restrictive for his lifestyle, had just solved our housing crisis without hesitation or judgment. "Rita, I don't know what to say. I can't accept this as a gift. Let me set up a payment plan to pay you back." "Sarah, you're Emma's mother, which makes you family to me. Family helps family, especially when a child's welfare is involved. Focus on finding good work and taking care of that beautiful granddaughter of mine. We'll worry about payment plans later." The transfer notification arrived at 12:47 a.m., accompanied by a text from Rita. "Emma is lucky to have such a dedicated mother. Things will get better." That night, I learned something profound about the difference between biological family and chosen family. Rita had stepped forward when my own blood relatives had found creative ways to justify abandoning us. Her generosity wasn't just financial. It was a reminder that worthiness of help shouldn't depend on sharing DNA. Over the next month, Rita checked in regularly, offered to babysit Emma during job interviews, and provided the kind of emotional support that helped me maintain confidence during a brutal job search. She never made me feel like a charity case or a burden, just like someone deserving of help during a difficult period. By the end of that month, I'd found a position as a marketing manager at a growing tech company. The salary was enough to support Emma and me comfortably, build savings, and start repaying Rita's kindness. But more importantly, I'd learned exactly who could be counted on when life became genuinely difficult. The family that had abandoned us in crisis would soon discover that loyalty and generosity create deeper bonds than shared genetics ever could. And when fortune smiled on our small household 6 months later, I would remember exactly who had earned the right to share in our good news. 6 months after Rita had saved us from homelessness, life had stabilized into something resembling normal. Emma was thriving in school. I was excelling at my new job, and we'd even managed to save enough for a small emergency fund that would prevent future desperation calls to family who'd already shown their true colors. Friday evening had become our tradition. Take out Chinese food, homework help, and then Emma would pick our lottery numbers while I handled household paperwork. It started as a fun weekly ritual that cost $5 and gave us something to hope for together. "Mom, I think we should use Grandma Rita's birthday this week. She's been so nice to us. Maybe her lucky numbers will work for us too." That's a sweet idea, sweetheart. Rita would love that you're thinking of her. Emma carefully selected Rita's birth date, October 15th, along with numbers representing our family. Emma's age, my age, the number of our apartment, and a few random selections that Emma insisted felt lucky. The same ritual we'd been following for months, except this time, Emma wanted to honor the woman who'd been more family to us than our actual family. Saturday evening, I was doing laundry while Emma worked on a school project when the lottery drawing began on television. We'd developed a routine of checking numbers together, usually leading to Emma's dramatic declarations that we'd almost won if one or two numbers had been different. Tonight's winning numbers are 10, 15, 8, 34, 47, and Powerball number 23 inches. I was folding Emma's school clothes when she suddenly shrieked from the living room with excitement that I initially assumed meant her favorite show was starting or she'd finished her homework successfully. "Mom! MOM, the numbers! The TV numbers match our ticket!" Sound of running footsteps, papers rustling. I rushed to the living room where Emma was holding our lottery ticket next to the television screen, her finger tracing each number as she confirmed the impossible. 10-15-8-34-47-23. Every single number matched exactly. "Emma, let me see that. Are you sure you're reading it right?" I checked the numbers 3 times, then went online to verify the official winning numbers, then called the Lottery Commission's automated line to confirm what seemed impossible. We had won. Not a small prize, not a few $1,000s. We had won the entire $47 million jackpot. The apartment went completely silent except for the sound of my heart racing and Emma asking repeatedly if this meant we were really rich now. I stared at the ticket, at the television, at my 8-year-old daughter, who'd chosen numbers to honor the one person who'd helped us when we needed help most. "Emma, do you realize what this means? Rita's birthday numbers just changed our entire lives." That night, after Emma fell asleep, I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd made desperate phone calls to family who'd turned away, and tried to process the magnitude of what had happened. We'd gone from near homelessness to multimillionaires in 6 months, but more than the money, I was struck by the cosmic poetry of winning with numbers that honored Rita, the one person who'd treated us like family when we'd needed family most. Emma's instinct to use her grandma's birthday had created a windfall that would secure our future forever. As I researched lottery procedures and tax implications, I made a decision that would define how I handled this unexpected fortune. The family who'd abandoned us in crisis would learn about our windfall when I decided they should learn about it, if I decided they should learn about it at all. But Rita, who'd opened her heart and her bank account when we'd needed both, would be the first person to know that her kindness had literally been rewarded by the universe in the most unexpected way possible. The first rule of sudden wealth, according to every article I could find, was telling absolutely no one until you've secured legal and financial advice. The second rule was being very careful about who you trusted with life-changing information. I'd already had a masterclass in family loyalty during our crisis. Now, I was about to implement those lessons with $47 million in prize money. Over the next 2 weeks, I quietly assembled a team of professionals who specialized in lottery winners and sudden wealth management. Attorney, accountant, financial advisor, and even a security consultant who helped lottery winners maintain privacy and safety during their transition. "Miss Chen, the most important decision you'll make is controlling information flow about your winnings," my attorney explained during our first meeting. "Once word spreads, your life changes permanently. Requests for money, investment opportunities, and relationship dynamics all shift when people know you have access to significant wealth." I chose the anonymous trust option that would keep my name out of public records, structured the payments to minimize tax implications, and created a plan for gradually transitioning to a lifestyle that reflected financial security without advertising windfall wealth. But the most important decision was who deserved to know about our good fortune and who had forfeited that privilege through their actions during our desperate period. Meanwhile, I began quietly observing my family's behavior with the perspective of someone who now had the resources to help them if they faced their own crises. What I discovered was that the same relatives who'd been too financially stretched to help us avoid homelessness were posting social media updates about vacation plans, home renovations, and luxury purchases. Michael shared photos from a $15,000 family ski trip to Switzerland. Jessica posted about her kitchen remodel, featuring custom Italian marble countertops. Uncle Robert celebrated purchasing his fourth rental property. Cousin David was planning a destination wedding in Tuscany. The family that had claimed financial constraints when asked to help a single mother avoid eviction seemed remarkably liquid when it came to funding their own lifestyle preferences. During this observation period, Rita continued being the grandmother Emma had always needed. Weekly phone calls, surprise visits with small gifts, offers to babysit during evening work events, maintaining the relationship she'd built through genuine care rather than obligation. Sarah, dear, you seem more relaxed lately. I hope the new job is working out well. Things are definitely more stable, Rita. Emma and I feel much more secure about our future. 3 months after winning, I was ready to begin the next phase of managing our windfall. Not by announcing our good fortune to family who demonstrated their priorities, but by quietly ensuring that the person who'd helped us would understand that her kindness had created consequences she could never have imagined. Rita's 65th birthday was approaching in 2 weeks. I decided that would be the perfect opportunity to reveal how her generosity had literally been rewarded by the universe, and to demonstrate what family loyalty actually looked like when someone had the resources to act on it. The woman who treated us like family when we'd needed family most was about to learn that some good deeds create returns that exceed anything the giver could have expected. Rita's 65th birthday party was planned as a small family gathering at her favorite restaurant. Just Rita, Emma, me, and a couple of her close friends. She'd specifically requested nothing fancy because she didn't need presents at her age, preferring to spend time with people she loved. Emma had been excited for weeks about Rita's birthday, carefully choosing a handmade card and helping me select a gift that would be meaningful without revealing the scope of what we could now afford. We'd settled on a beautiful photo album filled with pictures of Emma and Rita from the past year. Memories of the relationship that had blossomed after Rita's incredible generosity. "Oh, Emma, this photo album is perfect. Look at all these wonderful memories we've made together. You two have brought such joy to my life this year." After dinner and cake, Emma presented Rita with her card, a handmade creation featuring drawings of lottery balls and the message, "Thank you for being the luckiest thing in our lives." Rita read it with the kind of grandmotherly pride that made me emotional watching their bond. "Grandma Rita, your birthday numbers were super lucky for us. Remember how I used them for our lottery tickets?" "Well, something really amazing happened." "Emma, let me tell Grandma Rita about that." I handed Rita a sealed envelope with her name written in my handwriting. Inside was a letter I'd spent weeks crafting, along with documentation that would change her understanding of how profoundly her kindness had been rewarded. "Rita, 6 months ago, you saved Emma and me from homelessness when my own family couldn't find ways to help. You treated us like family when we needed family most. What you don't know is what happened because of your kindness." Rita opened the letter and read silently, her expression changing from curiosity to confusion to complete shock as she absorbed what I'd written about our lottery win using her birthday numbers. "Sarah, this says you won the lottery? The big lottery? Using my birthday numbers?" $47 million, Rita. Emma chose your birthday numbers because she wanted to honor you, and the universe rewarded your kindness in the most extraordinary way possible. What followed was something I'd never seen from Rita. Tears of joy mixed with disbelief as she tried to process that her act of family loyalty had literally been rewarded by fate in the most unexpected way possible. I didn't help you expecting anything in return. I helped because you're family, because Emma needed stability, because it was the right thing to do. Rita, that's exactly why the universe chose to reward you. Your help came from genuine love, not expectation. And now, Emma and I want to share our good fortune with the person who taught us what family really means. I handed Rita another envelope, this one containing information about the trust fund I'd established in her name. Enough money to ensure her retirement was comfortable, her medical needs were covered, and her golden years reflected the security she'd provided us during our darkest period. Rita, you gave us everything when we had nothing. Now we want to make sure you never worry about money, health care, or security for the rest of your life. This isn't payment for your kindness. It's family taking care of family. The evening ended with Emma explaining to Rita how she'd chosen the birthday numbers because Grandma Rita is the luckiest person in our family, creating a moment of perfect poetry where generosity had been rewarded by the universe in ways that exceeded anyone's imagination. 6 months after Rita's birthday revelation, I was sitting in my new home office, reviewing financial statements, when Emma came running in with news that would change everything about our lottery story. "Mom, I need to tell you something important about the lottery numbers. I wasn't completely honest about how I picked them." I set down my paperwork and gave Emma my complete focus, wondering what 8-year-old secret she'd been carrying about our life-changing lottery ticket. When I said I wanted to use Grandma Rita's birthday numbers, that was true. But there's something else. Remember when Daddy left and you were really sad? "Yes, sweetheart. That was a difficult time for both of us." "Well, I heard you crying one night, and I made a wish. I wished that someone in our family would be really nice to us, and that if they were, something really good would happen to them too." "Emma, what exactly did you wish for?" "I wished that whoever helped us when we really needed help would get the best surprise ever. And I wished it every night before bed for weeks. When Grandma Rita helped us, I knew my wish was working." "So, when you chose her birthday numbers for the lottery, I thought maybe my wish could give her the best surprise. I didn't know we would win, too, but I wanted something really good to happen to her because she was so nice to us." I stared at my daughter, processing the revelation that our lottery win hadn't been random luck or cosmic coincidence. It had been the result of an 8-year-old's deliberate intention to reward kindness with the biggest surprise she could imagine. "Emma, are you telling me that you chose Rita's numbers specifically hoping that if we won, she would benefit?" I wanted her to know that being nice to people makes good things happen. And I wanted everyone in our family to see that Grandma Rita was the best family member ever. The twist that transformed our entire lottery story was that Emma had orchestrated not just our win, but Rita's reward through the kind of innocent wisdom that adults rarely possess. My 8-year-old daughter had used a $47 million lottery win as a teaching tool about kindness and family loyalty. Emma's revelation reframed everything about our lottery experience. We hadn't just been lucky. We'd been guided by a child's pure intention to demonstrate that generosity should be rewarded and that the best family members deserve the best surprises. "Emma, do you understand what you did? You didn't just pick winning numbers. You created a way to show the whole universe what happens when someone treats others with genuine kindness. I just wanted Grandma Rita to know that helping people is the most important thing families do. And I wanted everyone else to see what a real grandma looks like. That night, I called Rita to share Emma's revelation about the intentional nature of our lottery win. The woman who'd helped us without expectation learned that an 8-year-old had deliberately chosen her birthday numbers as a cosmic reward for genuine family love. Sarah, that beautiful child, turned a lottery ticket into a lesson about love and family. She's wiser than any of us realized. Emma had asked the universe to reward kindness with the biggest surprise possible, then deliberately chosen numbers that would ensure Rita shared in any good fortune. My daughter had transformed a random lottery ticket into a deliberate act of justice, teaching our entire family that true loyalty creates returns that exceed anything money can measure. I'd asked my family for help, and no one did, except for one. I won the lottery and told no one, except the person who'd earned the right to share in our good fortune. But the real twist was that my 8-year-old daughter had orchestrated the entire thing as a lesson about what family actually means. Sometimes the universe doesn't just reward kindness. Sometimes it uses children to make sure that kindness receives exactly the recognition it deserves. And sometimes the biggest lottery win isn't money. It's learning who your real family is when everything else falls away.